Good afternoon. Welcome to the webcast about the easiest way to utilize Azure Cognitive Services for robotics process automation. My name is Igor Shestitka, and today it's a little bit about me. You can contact me by email, you can contact me by LinkedIn, so you can just send the request for the joining to the connection. Don't worry. I'm Microsoft MVP, and also I am senior manager in IT Salad for Azure Cloud Operations Department. And today we will talk about the easiest way and simple way to how to automate the business processes with the cognitive services in Azure by using the PowerShell, by using the Azure Functions and Logic application. It's not required special developer skills. Just to know that I'm not developer. I am mostly, let's say, Azure architect or manager of the department, etc. I have just only the PowerShell script, or you can use exactly the Azure Logic application without any code and continue to work with the cognitive services. So the idea of this presentation today, of this webcast, to provide you idea that cognitive services, it's not something like a rocket science. You can just start to use it immediately if you need to have something special, etc., etc. And I will do the demo with the Face API, Cognitive Services Face API. Why? Because it's mostly, let's say, easiest and visualized part of the cognitive services. I will show you how to call the cognitive services over PowerShell. I will show you how you can convert the PowerShell script to Azure Functions, just to use after that the blocks of the Azure Functions, like atomic blocks, to build your business processes, to provide the required functionality with Azure Logic application. So you can call your functions built by PowerShell and before by script. You will design with the Logic application. And of course, I will show you how to use cognitive services natively with Azure Logic application. It means that you even do not need to understand the first part of my presentation to work with the PowerShell, etc., etc. You just can go and start to use the Logic application. I will not do any other presentation, will not describe you how it's blah, blah, blah. No, let's go straight. Let's go directly to the solution. Let's see what's going on and how it works. All this stuff I will present you, I will explain you, etc. So, first of all, you need to have exactly the cognitive services itself. To create any cognitive services, you need to understand what you need. For example, if we are talking about the face recognition, we just create the face recognition by providing required parameters. It's basic parameters, right? Pricing tier, I am using the free F0. It's 20 calls per minute. Please do not use my key, etc., etc. Anyway, you will have this object in Azure to work with. There is a lot of examples. There is a lot of additional documentation. There is a lot of additional features that you can use, but main thing that you need to understand and need to use, you need to have these two parts. First of all, you need to have the key that will be used for authentication, and second one, you need to know endpoint and place where it's exactly placed. This is the main step to work with the cognitive services, and after that the process to work with this object, to send something or recognize something, it's really easy in PowerShell at all. Let's see. So we have this script, so you can use it. If you contact with me, I will share, etc., etc. Most of this part, it's not needed at all. I will explain why. But at first, what we have here, we just use two .NET Frameworks library to have exactly the web services API calls, right? There is my application that we will use some files. We will switch it to look on it, how it works, etc., etc. As I mentioned before, you need to have the Face API key. This is my key that was copied from here. If you look at it, will be the same. Yep, it will be the same. It's previous one or from another cognitive services, whatever. So API location West Europe, and after that we built exactly the HTTP client that will have a call to have the authentication, to provide the authentication to the cognitive services. It's required to provide the Face API. As you can see, the Face API provided by special request header, where we add the special request header and Face API. From where I get this stuff, again, so you can go through the documentation. It's really useful and neat documentation, and here on the reference you can see APIs, you can see all operations, you can see what exactly you need, which function you need to call, how to find, how to do identity, etc., etc. So each operation provided here. You can see, for example, we are talking about face. We need to detect faces. This one is operation about the faces, how to call, endpoints that we discussed at face, detect, and after that some parameters that you need to send exactly to the solution. There is the names of the parameters, there is a description of the parameters, etc., etc. And the most important part, here is the result. Why it's important, I will show you. And these examples of the calls. One it's by application, and another one binary data if you want to send the picture not from the HTTP but like from local machine to recognize, or from local device, like a binary stream to recognize exactly what's going on inside. And of course request headers, content type, and the keys that we described before. So if we put content type like application JSON, it should be this part. If we put type like application octet stream, we have to put binary data with the picture. It's like a where you can find all the information about the parameters, etc., etc. So after that, I built required parameters, like just a string. I built URL string to call API, exactly the function detect that we discussed before. This one, oops, sorry. This one. The same endpoint, my endpoint on the West Europe, API, cognitive services, face, blah, 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 detect, and query strings that I need to send. So this is the modes, the detection mode, recognition mode, what I want to check, like attributes. Do I need to return face ID, etc. After that, the main part, I need to build the body of the request, and this body of the request I am building by the content of the file. I provide some files here, and this file name use it to build the file stream. After that, I send this file to the call. So client post asynchron, and URI and binary content that I build from here. And exactly the call. So what will happen? For example, let's start with the, let's say, more simple scenario that we have here. This is my picture, picture of my brother, picture of my son, picture of my family, etc., etc., where we can see the different family or faces, etc., etc. Yeah, it's me. Let's start, I don't know. Let's start with the family. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. It's family 01. So this is the family 01. You can see here. You can see here my father, my mother, my son, and after that, after this call, we just wait the result, and after that we go through the result of the task and go through the parameters and build some JSON result, JSON object to send all this data like a one JSON file. Why we need JSON file? For easily convert to the function and provide the result of the function like a JSON result to work after that with this data. Okay, what we have here, if we will start this script, we can see result. This result provide us additional information, all information, let's say, about the pictures, etc., etc., etc. Just a second, I will clean up one more time. Yep. So this one, you can see the face number 1. There's a array of the faces, and we are going one by one. It's smile, it's a male, it's age, it's all styles, no glasses, emotions, makeups, etc., etc., and of course the rectangle where you have this picture. I think it's my father, but the age a little bit different. So second one, it's female, my mother looks like, right? By the age, top left place where his face was found, so here. And you can see another one, male, 1 year old. It should be 3 year old, but whatever. Again, emotions, etc., 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 to provide the normal information, not like this separate. It's exactly why I built the JSON file. You can see all the results like a one JSON file where you can see the same parameters, same data, etc., etc., etc. So what we have here with the like 100 lines of the code, not code exactly, but PowerShell, you can call directly the cognitive services with no any additional limitation. So you will have exactly what you need to work with this data. If you want to work with another files, let's choose one. For example, I don't know. Which one? Mask. It's a good one. What do you think? Face mask. If we start this one, you can see me with accessories. And this accessories is mask with confidence 99% of the situation. So all this stuff, all these parameters, all this, by the way, you can see that's like a smile. Even with the mask, it's predict that I am smiling. It's in reality I am smiling. Yeah. So you can do this and you can get these parameters. This is the one way how you can use, and the second way I will not show, but it's the same situation, same call about working with the files placed somewhere on the, in this case, blob storage. Again, we build just a body with the URL like required and exactly the URL for the picture on the internet with the same call. So we are not sending the stream, we just build the body with the URL. That's all. So in this case, what we can do and why we are talking about the scripts. We are talking about the scripts, we are talking about the PowerShell, because it's not only about face recognition. It's also about, for example, find the people inside the picture. If you need to not recognize the picture and not recognize the face, but find the person on this picture, you need to build some next steps. So like for the next steps, you need to create person group, and after that you need to create the person and assign at least one picture for the person to say that this is a picture of, for example, of Igor Shastitka. I have the same, so I already a little bit trained the model, and right now we can see different pictures of me, and the solution will look on it and say this is Igor, it's not Igor, is it confident, not confident, etc., etc. So this is another way where you can see that at first we just detect the picture, and after that we are asking for the, in another step, we are asking for the identity. Identify with the required recognition model, and the person group ID, the list ID of the group where we place the faces, and the system will return the faces with confidential, etc., 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 how it should work. Let's see. By the way, the confidential, it's put like 035 to be sure that's like we found at least one required person. So let's take the picture like I don't know, face mask. Model was not trained with face mask, and we can start. And as you can see, it's not recognize me, it's recognize the picture, it's recognize the mask, etc., etc., but it's do not recognize me, that it's exactly me. But if we take, for example, the picture with from the magazine, this one, it's me too. And start it. You can see that it finds the candidate with me and the confidence 83%. We can play a lot with the different pictures and try to find me at 2012. can you see the 2012? Yeah, it's me on 2012. And if we go here and try to recognize me in 2012, it will say that, yeah, it's me, even after 9 years. It's recognized me like a 0, or let's say 67% of the confidence for the solution. We can take another, for example, 15 years ago. We can try to start with it. And with confidence, 47%, let's say 47%, the system again recognizes me. Why I know that it's recognized me? Because you can see the ID of the person. When I create my person inside the group and assign the first picture, I exactly put here the way. So the last one, it's when we add to me additional persons, or additional pictures, etc., we need to train our model. We need to train our group. This is the group ID. This is the comment of the group. And by the way, this is no need at all. And we will be able to see the trained and system will recognize me or anyone another with better scenarios. More and more pictures will give you more and more confidence for the model. Is it clear, right? And let's move back to the beginning, and let's go to the logic application solution to understand how it will work on the, let's say, where is it? On the non-code scenario. On the non-code scenario, we can, no, it's not this one. We can create any logic application. We can put it demo native API. It will be West Europe. Create. Logic application will take not a lot of time. And we are ready. So, if you're not familiar with the logic applications, this is solutions that allow you to build any application inside the Azure for the, let's say, robotics process automation without any code. What we will do with this? We will go through the blob storage. We will take the new files from the blob storage, and we'll send to Face API to recognize someone or do something with this data. Okay, so we have the default trigger. This default trigger we set to the Azure Blob service. We select photo. We say that we want to get at least one picture. We say that we want to check every 30 seconds. And just to understand this, because I already did a lot of demos, etc., I have the connections. This connection named new image in blob connection that's pointed to the exactly the blob. If you want to connect something also and other files, etc., you can just put the name and select the blob, which one you want to monitor and which one you want to take the data. So right now it will go to the blob storage. Give me a second. This blob storage, place it here. And there is some pictures inside, just for the demo, etc, etc, etc. We will put new picture or rewrite existing picture. Anyway, the idea of the application, logic application service, that it will find without any code, nothing, just connector will find the event about the new blob and sends the data about this blob. So the next step will be exactly Face API. You can type on the top Face API with a lot of functions that you no need to configure or write the code. Unfortunately, this is limited set of the function. It's why I am trying to explain you that's like why you need to use the scripts, why you need to use the Azure Functions, etc, etc. But anyway, we can use the basic scenario. For example, we want to detect the faces. We want to detect the faces, and these faces will be taken from where? From our basic storage. I have here the same storage that's pointed by the block, and here, if you click here, dynamic content, or just on the end, the list box, text box, you can see the list of the results of the previous operation. For the result of the previous operation, you can choose what we need. We have full path and just need the file name. So it will build the full path and send for the detection. Exactly the detection will be executed by Face API connection, same like I demonstrated for you about the blob storage. You can build whatever you need. So there is a name, there is the API key, and the last one, the site URL that you have on the parameters of your cognitive services, in this case face recognition API. So here, this one, the key, the endpoint, and some name that you will define for the solution. That's all. I already built it, and what will happen if we will start this? At first we will save it and start on the debug mode. Let's see. Photo. Let's take any photo. Where is upload? Let's take any photo. Let's take the same. No. Let's take family first. Rewrite. It's uploaded, and the trigger, you see, successfully checked the trigger. The trigger should be fired, and you can see, and you can look inside for each step. Inputs, we have photo with one request, the parameters of the call itself, and the body that was returned by first step. The body was returned by first step, its name, display name, etc., etc., etc. And after that, we have what? Again, so yes, we have the same result that we saw before. Face ID, rectangle of the face, place mark, blah, 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 etc., etc., with all parameters for each face that you need. What you can do with these parameters? You can get these parameters after that on the next step, or take this body like a JSON file and parse the, again by the logic application, parse this JSON file, get some parameters, and go next, 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 and next. So it was like just a first step. If we found the face, so if we the status code result and body size is okay, so what we can do next? We can again, so for example, try to recognize is it me or not. To recognize is it me or not, let's switch to the designer and add new step, and again type the face here. Face API, and right now we need to find the person from the face. To find the person from the face, we need Face ID. Face ID was returned by detect face. What is the Face ID? It's a operation that's like ID of the operation, and this ID stored for 24 hours. So you have the unique Face ID in Face API. But whatever, we are not talking about the Face API. I am trying to show you how easy to build. Look, Logic Application Designer automatically switched to the mode for each. Why? Because the detect face returned the array of the faces, not only one. Even with the one, it will be the array. It's a JSON with the sub-JSON, sub-objects, etc., etc. And here we can see the Face ID. And after that, as I mentioned before, I already created the local group 0, 1, and inside the 0, 1, I created the person Igor Shastitka. After that, what we can do, we can go with control, condition, and look to the results of the find the person. Find the person operation return, is it identical, equal, true. And row, is it confidence greater than 0.35. It thinks that's like it's normal confidence of the situation, right? And what we can do with this scenario, right? We can do with this scenario the next step, and this next step will be like Face API. And look what I have to do. I have add a person face. So if I have some picture that's possible me, I can go to the group again. I can go to the ID and take the name, and after that take the same URL that we have, because it's exactly the face. But it will not work. Why? Because look, it's again so feature of the logic application. You can find here additional parameters, and it's required additional parameters. Name it target face. From where I know this, again, go back to the Cognitive Services API. We are talking about the person, and on the person you can see add face. I'm adding the face of the picture. The group ID we provided, person ID we provided. Target face. What is the target face? Target face should be defined like a left, top, width, and height. What we can do again here, we can look on the previous operation where we work with the detect face. And here, it's named face rectangle, I think. Yeah, face rectangle. What they are looking for: left, top, width, and height. Right? Where is it? Ah, sorry. Left, top, width, height. Yep. So we got from here. IDs that I created before, blah blah blah, etc. After that, we add my face to the list. Let's check. Let's check first one. Oops, sorry. Let's check first one with the family again. Why not? Here, it's recognize the faces. Step 1, you can see step 2 with the different parameters. Step 3 with another parameter. And all of these parameters, you can see the result output false and just like a 0, 1. Previous one, false. Previous one, again, not. So condition always false, and it was skipped, and it was a false operation, right? If we start right now with my face, that could be maybe recognized. For example, we know that the face from the 2006 recognized by me better than 2011. Let's take 2006 and upload. And here you can see that person face recognized 47%, and it was added to my face. It's do not. Why? Wait. White condition is false. Why condition is false? Interesting. But confidence, it's okay. Let's take another one. Let's take, I don't know. Let's take this one. Barber shop. This one. No, wait. I had to start it. Barber shop. And here, condition true. Finally, identical true, 65%, and my face added here. In case if the face is not added here, what we can do anyway, so there's a lot of operations. For example, we can send the email with approval where we can ask, for example, is it eager or not? If someone will say, is it eager? If we go to the Outlook, Office 365 Outlook, and you have connector, you can send the approval, email with the operations, but we need again create the connector, assign, etc., 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 to work with. But anyway, it's possible, right? What's the next? So we added me again. We can use another my pictures to train the model. We added the model, but the model still added the materials. Let's take, I don't know, let's take, what we can take? 19, okay, 20, Office 01, anyone. Upload. And here some delays. It sometimes happens, but again, it's not real-time application, etc. Condition true. It's Igor Shestitka. It's added additional one. The result, previous one was 65%. This one 76%. Even better, right? And we can again train or start again and add one more. Let's take, for example, Velo. I am on the bicycle. Face, recognize it, added, and there is 55, 65, and the last one is 76, right? This is the scenarios that we added the face, but we need to train the model after. If we look on the list of the operations, we can't find, Face API, we can't find the operation named train model. Plus, if you look on the list of the cognitive services and each operation, you can find that just like it's maybe 15% of the logic application, right? It means that we need to go back. We need, for example, to train our model, as I explained it before, ID of the group, and run this train command. We trained the model, right? And after that, we can take, for example, the same search with the same name of the file, like Velo, JPEG, Igor SH, Velo. Do you remember that Velo before train was 55% of the recognition? And right now, if we will start this recognition by the file, not by the URL, we can see that confidence of this file right now 75%. If we will try to use Office JPEG, right? It was Office 01. It was, how much it was? 76, right? 01 Spiech. If we will start Office 01, we can see not 76, it's 99. Oh, sorry, 88%, right? So the training is really important. It means that we need some way to extend our possibility to train the solution, to work with solution, etc., etc. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So what we can do, we can use, as I mentioned before on the introduction, application functions, Azure Functions, that will use the same code. We can copy and paste, and we can create our additional parts of the operation. So PowerShell core 7, it will be West Europe again. West Europe. What? Ah, sorry. Face API demo train. Same way how we are building the script, we are building the function, and inside this function we add the parameters if it's required, and why, for example, on the script with the face ID I have the return like a JSON object, and build it and send the all finds to the JSON object because of returning of the JSON inside the application or inside the function. We will work with the easiest part, right? We will work with the part of function and with the train, so we will not need a lot of parameters, etc., etc. Just for example, maybe ID of the group or something like this. But that one will be just a copy paste of the code. Let's, by the way, a little bit clean up it, because again, we don't need anything except what? We don't need this string. It could be the empty string, just a body with nothing. We don't need the list of the files, it's just a copy paste, right? We need Face API. We don't need any additional parameters for the query because again it's just a train. Only one parameter that we need to use, it's a parameter with ID of the group. Okay, let's test. It works. The Face API train demo ready. We can look for the functions. There is no functions at all, and we will create the first function here. It will be, as you can see, HTTP trigger. It means that someone, logic application, or you directly can call this function by HTTP post command, or you can put it where you need. There's a chart. Time is out. Just a little bit again. So like we can name it train function, authorization level anonymous. We don't need authorization. and we will have the function where we can put our command. So this function will write something, will return something, but we don't need, frankly saying, to do this. But anyway, right? So like a demo, let's do the next. Like a demo, let's copy this part, put it if body is name, blah, blah, blah. So this part will be executed in case of if body will contain some, or request will contain some name. I will show you right now how is it. Oops, sorry. Yeah. This is exactly how we can use it. And to call this function, we need this URL. It will be our URL, and test, you can see that how the body can send, etc., etc. So the last option, for example, after we added new face, here, right? We can call the last one. We can call the function by, where is it? This one, no. Why I can't see my function yet? But anyway, again, so like we can add this function. Azure function. Search connector of action. This one not. This one not. This one not. And Face API, this one, yeah, it's our function. Demo train. And the request body should be built like required from the command here. If you will need to send some parameters inside the function, you will be able to put here anything you need. For example, you need to send here, you need to send here the name of the file, etc., etc. All of these operations will be possible to do like this, right? Or face ID or group ID, whatever. You will need to just use, where is this face ID? Let's do face ID, for example. Face ID. So I send to the function the face ID. After that, it means that we created, detect the faces. We get the ID of the faces and send to the person that was already predefined. If it's mostly identical to me, it's added to the person face, additional face of me. And because the model needs to be trained, I call the function to train the model to have the better view or better confidence of my face, of my solution, etc. Let's do with the 16. It's already started, I hope. No. Started, and upload. And what we can see, execution. It will take a time to execute first time the function at all. Hope it will work. Yeah, it will. Just a second, it will wait. And after that, we will receive the result, and my face will be added and trained. You can see it's added, trained. We received this result, triggered function execution, etc., etc. Before, let's say, my confidence was 84. If we switch to the, it was no, search, it was 26, right? Before it was 24, 26. Let's check the confidence after the training, automatic training, right? 91. So the function works, and it's provided additional recognition for me. The questions, because we are out of time, run out of time, sorry. But anyway, if you have some questions, hope it was useful. There's no questions? Okay, if there's no questions, hope you found from my presentation how it's really easy to work with any cognitive services. It's not only about, again, about face recognition, etc., etc. You can type the cognitive services here, and you can find a lot of different cognitive services, predefined cognitive services in Azure here, and work with it. It's a text analysis, it's a Bing search, etc., etc. So you can execute same way. Just only one thing that you need to know, it's what exactly each API means, each call of this API means. But anyway, Microsoft provides you with each model when you create the text analysis or create the face recognition or Face API, you will get the same documentation for the different cognitive services, etc., etc., to work with it. So like, and plus if you need the JSON models to parse, etc., you also will find here. Plus, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of demos, there's a lot of documentation, commands how to execute by any other script, etc. It's strange that there is no PowerShell, but anyway, you can easily convert the Python or PHP or C# to PowerShell to work with it. What exactly I did. And again, so like the idea of the working with the cognitive services, if you have not enough functionality of the default connector, you are easily able to build your own function and use it directly in like by the calling from the HTTP, or using it like a operation inside your application, logic application. Questions? So if there's no any questions here, thank you for your attention. Thank you that you attended this meeting, this webcast. And again, so you can find me on the LinkedIn by the name or by the link. Look for the iWalker 2000s. Email, always open for the questions. If you need to ask something, You're welcome. And again, we are using a lot of cognitive services in this manner because in cloud operations, we are using it, for example, for the prediction of data prediction, forecast of the capacity, forecast of the performance, etc., etc., for the different clients. Thank you.